Reporting for the Intermountain Christian News, I'm Dr. Anthony Harper here at the White House. One of the most disturbing things for me was in my meeting with Press Secretary Jennifer Psaki when she called on me the issue of Israel. She did not acknowledge Israel in her reply whatsoever. A serious concern about the role of Israel as a mediator in the Russia-Ukraine crisis. And so I'm still waiting for the White House to say something positive about Israel and their role in this matter, and speak out and condemn anti-Semitism in all of its forms. Another issue here I hear so often is about how great our economy is. In press meetings here, the press secretary and other press people try to convince a lot of the journalists here that our economy is in a lot better shape and the job outlook is in better shape. But for me and some other journalists here, it's very difficult to accept that in light of the high price of gas and food, of course, airline tickets, and so much more. During the President Trump administration, the price of gas was a lot lower. There was a lot of more security in our nation. We didn't have the Russia-Ukraine crisis. There are a lot of serious issues to address here, and I want to get to the bottom of that to report the truth. And finally, I would like to thank God for arranging me to be called on by Press Secretary Jennifer Psaki on April 7th of this year, 2022. And also by Kate Bedingfield, the Communication Director. I'm thankful to them both for taking my questions, and hopefully this is a start of many more opportunities being called on, and to boldly and clearly ask the questions that need to be asked, those God-inspired questions.
I want to know, what will President Biden's response if Israel bombs Iran's nuclear reactors?
I am not going to get into that kind of hypothetical, but thank you. Thank you for the question. Yes.
Hi.
That. I have nothing to announce about.
Final question?
Yes.
What is this administration response to Israel for their role as mediator in this Russia-Ukraine crisis? And I have a follow-up question.
Okay. Well, we certainly support the efforts of a range of leaders who are hoping to play a diplomatic role here. And there are a number of leaders around the world who have also had engagements with Russians and engagements with the Ukrainians. And we just ask that they all engage closely with Ukrainians as well.
Okay. To help Europe develop energy independence from Russia, will the Biden administration drop its opposition to the EU East Med pipeline being developed by Israel, Cyprus, and Greece?
Look, I think there's going to be decisions made by European leaders about how to reduce their any level of dependence they have on Russian oil. You've seen a number of leaders this week announce their intention to ban oil imports from Russia, but I would remind you that pipelines are a means of moving oil. It's not a means of production, but I point you to the European leaders to speak to that. Thanks so much, everyone.
We read news every day, news that's informative but rarely encouraging. The Intermountain Christian newspaper aims to change that. They present the news you need to know, from what's going on in your community to your world, with encouraging words, motivation, and the resources you need to make positive changes in your life. What is your local government doing that you need to know about? What's happening in your community you need to be a part of? Whether it's a story from your neighborhood, a national story, or an encouraging word, you'll find biblical issues of everyday life in the Intermountain Christian newspaper. Intermountain Christian News is produced and supported by the work and donations of individuals and churches. You'll find it at churches, Christian bookstores, by subscription, and online at imcnews.org. To find out more about supporting this local resource, go online at imcnews.org or call Intermountain Christian News in Boise, Idaho at 208-703-8688. The Intermountain Christian News, a voice sharing the truth on matters dear to people's hearts.